6 years of routine night shifts at the Midtown call center until one call shattered it all. A voice whispered your name, a name you never shared. What seemed like a prank is now a terrifying nightmare. Someone's watching, and they know everything. Will you survive what's coming next? Now let's start today's story. Alara Grant found solace in the routine of her night shift at Midtown's call center. For nearly 6 years, the job had been a predictable cycle of ringing phones and scripted responses. But tonight felt unsettling. The usual chatter had faded into an eerie silence, and the flickering overhead lights cast unsettling shadows. Alara glanced at the clock. 1:15 a.m. 45 minutes until her shift ended. As she packed her things, the phone rang. Midtown call center. This is Alara speaking. How can I assist you? Silence responded. Hello, she called out, unease creeping in. Suddenly, a crackling noise broke the stillness, followed by a whisper that sent chills down her spine. Alara, you shouldn't have answered. Her blood ran cold. She had never shared her full name during calls. Who is this? She demanded, but the line went dead. Panic surged within her as she stared at the phone, heart racing. She glanced around the call center. Her colleagues were too engrossed in their work to notice her distress. It had to be a prank, she told herself, but unease settled in as she left work. The parking lot was empty, streetlights casting long shadows. As she fumbled for her keys, her phone buzzed. A new message from an unknown number made her heart skip. See you soon. Alara trembling, she dropped her phone. Someone was watching her. Panic-stricken, she locked herself in her car and sped home, heart racing. Double-checking all the locks, she closed the blinds and collapsed on her couch, trying to calm her mind. Maybe it was just someone from work. But deep down, she sensed something more sinister at play. Over the next few days, the calls continued. Always from unknown numbers, the voice whispered her name, taunting her with phrases like you shouldn't have answered, and you can't escape. Alara reported it to her supervisor, who dismissed it as a prank. It happens sometimes. Just ignore it, they said. But Alara couldn't. The calls became more frequent, and the messages more menacing. She felt eyes on her, even when alone. One evening, while wrapping up her shift, she noticed a new email. The subject read, urgent new procedures. Opening it, her heart sank. Alara, you shouldn't have answered. Panic gripped her as she looked around the office. No one seemed to notice her distress. She hurried home, on edge. That night, the phone rang again. Hello, she answered, voice shaking. Alara, the voice whispered. You can't escape. She hung up, trembling. The nightmare was repeating. Desperate, she contacted a private investigator named Jake, hoping he could help. Jake listened skeptically but agreed to take her case. Days turned into weeks, and Alara's fear only intensified. The calls continued, each one a cruel reminder of her torment. Jake traced the calls to unregistered burner phones, but the trail went cold. One evening, the phone rang again. Alara, the voice said, calm and deliberate. I'm closer than you think. Terrified, she fled her apartment, driving aimlessly for hours until she found herself at Jake's office. She needed answers. Jake was waiting for her and led her into his office, looking grave. Alara, I found something, he said, handing her a file. Inside were notes, phone records, and photos of her taken without her knowledge. They've been watching you for a long time. Alara's world spun. What do I do? She whispered, fear creeping in. We have to find them, Jake replied. They spent days piecing together evidence, trying to find a pattern. The calls continued, each one tightening the grip of fear around her throat. Then one night, Jake called her with a lead. He traced a number to a rundown motel. Stay put. I'm going to check it out, he instructed. Alara waited anxiously, pacing her apartment. Hours passed before her phone rang. Alara, it's Jake. I found something. Meet me at the motel. Room 12. Driving to the motel, her heart raced. Jake stood outside room 12, a grim look on his face. "What did you find?" she asked. "See for yourself," he said, opening the door. Inside the dim room, shadows flickered around a lamp, revealing walls plastered with photos, newspaper clippings, and chilling notes, a twisted shrine to her torment. Alara felt nausea rise as she stumbled back. Jake handed her a nearby phone. "It's him. The last number called is yours." Shaking, she dialed the number. It rang twice before a calm, familiar voice answered. "Alara, I told you, you can't escape." She dropped the phone, her legs giving way. They called the police, sealing the room as a crime scene. Weeks passed before they identified him, a former employee from the call center obsessed with Alara. He was arrested, and the calls stopped, but the fear lingered. Hoping to escape, Alara moved to another state, found a new job, and made friends. Gradually, she began to forget the terror. Yet, every time her phone rang, her heart would skip a beat. Was it truly over, or would the nightmare return? If you enjoyed this terrifying tale, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more spine-chilling stories. Have you ever had a paranormal experience? Share your story in the comments below.